What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another part 2 of Ultimate Universe What If. And this will be part 2 of What If Naruto was, or should I say, learned, 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 uh, learned the moon breaking style in Demon King. Or, yeah, you could say that. One of those two. What if he was the Demon King, or what if he was what if he learned the moon breathing style? But we're just gonna say, what if he was the Demon King? One of those two. One of those two. I might change it. Depends. But this will be part 2. If y'all like, please, hit that like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And also, I've been reading y'all guys' comment, and y'all really wanted a part 2. And the other comment I was looking at when a person said Naruto X Sasuke's mom X that, no, come on, don't do that. Maybe in another lifetime. Or maybe in the next video. Maybe some new parts, but maybe in another part of a new video. But other than that, nah. This is going to be a different one. But this will be part 2, and we're basically going to get to it. Yeah, let's get it. Alright, so where we pretty much last left off, Itachi pretty much, well, you could say Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata pretty much nailed the belt test and pretty much passed with flying colors, whilst pretty much Sasuke and Naruto was heading home late at night, only to realize Naruto can smell blood and went to the Uchiha compound, realizing that everybody is dead. Now, this is where they're trying to figure out who's the culprit until they see Itachi. Now, Itachi pretty much is covered in blood, which Naruto realized that Itachi is the culprit. Now, this is where Itachi started a whole fight, kicks Sasuke out the doorway, and pretty much has a fight with Naruto. Now, Naruto pretty much is scrapping beef with Itachi, still pretty much taking the L and lost. And Itachi pretty much beat Naruto in physical skill because he is more skilled because he was in the Amu in a young age, if everybody noticed that. And pretty much defeat Naruto, pretty much stabbing him. But not killing him, but stabbing him. Now, this is where Naruto wakes up, talks to Sasuke and Zero, and they pretty much all agree upon to eat all the Uchihas to gain power, to chase after and get Itachi. Now, before that, before we do, that's all the recap. Let's just get to the new part. Now, before we do that, before we get to the new part, I'm going to add in a little bit of extra details that, I haven't seen in the part 1, so let's get it. Alright, new parts, let's go. Now, as Naruto, and Sasuke and Zero is eating all the body parts and stuff, in the dark presence in the shadow, there's DNAs of all the Uchihas that got slaughtered. And pretty much is taken to a secret laboratory. Now, this is where a person is pretty much saying, it's all complete, Keyshawn. Which this is where Keyshawn Uchiha comes out. And pretty much is saying, so you got all the samples of all the dead Uchihas that got slaughtered? Which this servant says, yes, it's all here, saying, good, this should be great. It begins to put it in the machine. Now, this is where all the tubes, we're going to say a lot of tubes is empty and begins to start forming into, slowly turn into babies. Because we're going to say the demon thing, if you're a demon, you can pretty much rejoin, you can come back if someone like do something of unique scientist thing to bring you back as a baby. But you'll have all your memories, but you'll be forming back as a baby and slowly growing. It all depends. But pretty much, yeah. Keystone Uchiha is pretty much putting all the tubes, putting all the DNAs and stuff in tubes and the blood, and pretty much reforming them all back. And pretty much says, this should be great. This should be later on. Now, this is where, of course, Orochimaru comes out and says, yes, indeed. Which Keyshawn looks and says, what do you want, Orochimaru? You know this is my secret laboratory. Which Orochimaru says, oh, nothing. Just here to talk. Which this is where Orochimaru and Keyshawn begins to talk and have a seat. So, Orochimaru, what do you want? Do you want to have a Uchiha's body? to have your immortality and demon power, which this is where, of course, Orochimaru says, well, am I that obvious? Which, this is where Kisha says, well, you're kind of a snake, so I don't trust snakes that much. I mean, I like pet snakes, but you, I don't trust you. Which they continue talking. Now, this is where Orochimaru pretty much is trying to make a deal with Kishan, Kishan says, all right, I'll make a deal with you. I want you to, I want to kind of give a buff to someone. I want you to kind of intervene and give someone a power buff to get you stronger to defeat his brother. Which this is where Orochimaru says, oh, who is it then? Which Kishan smiles and says, well, it's Naruto. It's Sasuke Uchiha. And also, and also, I want you to give another buff to Zero Uchiha. Make them both stronger. Now, of course, Orochimaru is agreeing upon this to get a body from Kishan. And he says, you have a deal then. And begins to head out. Now, as that begins to happen, Orochimaru begins to set his plans in motion. While Kishan is in his laboratory working. Now, as that's happening, we're going to switch back to Naruto and them. Now, Sasuke and Naruto and Zero already ate all the Uchihas and stuff. They didn't bury them, just ate all of them. For the Uchiha eyes, they are, you could say, buried. Well, kind of all put in a jar. A little bit, yeah. The eyeballs are put in a jar. And Don's already got like half of them, but he didn't get all of them. So, yeah. He just got enough Uchiha eyes, demon Uchiha eyes, which that's gonna really in him will kill him much quicker because, like I said, if you're not Uchiha, it drains your life force and also a little bit of your chakra. Now, as that's happening, pretty much they have the jar and they pretty much take it to Naruto's old house and pretty much put it in the refrigerator, which they're pretty much all feeling much stronger but different, which they all go to sleep, including except for Naruto. He pretty much is thinking, is saying, why did he do it? Why did he Itachi kill the Uchiha? I gotta find out. And pretty much close his eyes and go to sleep. Now the next day, pretty much Naruto, Sasuke, and Zero, they all start heading to class, to their teams, and begins to pretty much all go in their separate ways. Now Sasuke and Naruto is pretty much you could say a little bit more training and stuff and training with each other while they're waiting for Itachi and Hinata. And Naruto begins to train with Sasuke even more harder because, like I said, due to the eating, getting stronger and stuff, now they're 10 times stronger, but they have to, train to get their physical muscles up because if they just eat and not train, then it won't really do anything. They'll just be it will do something, but it'll basically just destroy them. So they have to train to even it out. Now, as that's happening, this is where Kakashi, comes in and they begin to do some little missions. As they're doing some little missions, this is where Naruto and Sasuke gets enough of these missions and asks for Hiruzen for a higher mission. Now, Hiruzen is pretty much, saying he doesn't think they're ready for it. This is where Naruto pretty much slams the puts his hand on the desk and pretty much begins to destroys it and says, listen, Hiruzen, I'm sorry for the desk, but can we please get a higher mission? Which Hiruzen begins to sweat and says, of course, and gives him a B mission. Gives him a C mission, if I'm correct. DC, yeah, C missions to protect Naruto. Now, of course, Naruto and Sasuke says whatever, and it begins to hurt going. But Hinata goes with them, start following them off. Which Kakashi says he makes sure they'll be alright. Now, as that's happening, this is where, of course, um Tazuna. They all is go out and all waiting for Tazuna, and Tazuna pretty much comes and looks at the team, and he sees Naruto and Sasuke, and they look much different, and he looks at Hinata saying, "Huh, this is an odd team to protect me, but anyways, let's just go." Which Tazuna is, not talking because he's a little bit terrified of those two, but not Hinata. As they're pretty much going, this is where, of course, as they're going out, this is where they see a puddle, which Naruto, it pretty much is in a calm state but knows that something's up. They're pretty much saying, "This is a trap, Naruto. This is a trap, Sasuke. Get prepared." Which Sasuke is already prepared. Now, as Sasuke and Naruto's walking, this is where the two demon brothers comes out and begins to try to kill Kakashi. Now, this is where Naruto uses his first form and do a swiftly slash and slash one of the demon brothers in half, and Sasuke comes in throwing two kunais to hit, and pretty much hits the other demon brother, and pretty much use a fireball and shoots him down and pretty much burns him. Which they're pretty much both of them is out. Now the other one is burnt but not dead. Pretty much is coughing up some blood and saying, and this is where Kakashi asks him what why are they doing here and why are they trying to kill him, which he pretty much explains the whole thing. Now, as Kakashi is pretty much about to cancel the whole mission and go back until Naruto and Sasuke says no, they're gonna finish the mission. They need to finish this mission, which Kakashi says, okay, if you say so. And they begin to carry on forward. Now, as they're going on forward, this is where they see a whole frog and mist and stuff, which Naruto is pretty much is already on guard, and Sasuke too, and Hinata, after, she didn't know something was up. Now she wants to catch up. Now, as that's happening, this is where Hinata tells Naruto and Kakashi that there's two people hiding. There's two people, him and her, pretty much hiding behind the bush. Which, this is where Naruto tells Hinata to go after the second person while they fight him. Now, as they're pretty much going, this is where Kakashi tells everybody to duck, except for Naruto. Naruto pretty much pulls out his blade and does a slash and slash the executioner blade in half. Sorry, executioner blade in half. Pretty much put it in half. Now, as that's happening, this is where Zabuza realized that his blade got sliced in half. I say, "What? Did you? So I see you slashed my giant blade in half." Which Naruto is saying, "Move out our way, or you're going to die." This is where Zabuza pretty much cuts his hand a little bit and puts blood on the executioner blade, and he pretty much fixes it and says, "Huh, I guess you're gonna have to kill me then," and pretty much slash down at Naruto, which Naruto pretty much blocks it with his blade with one handed and pretty much backs it away and start attacking Zabuza with the blade. Now, as that happening, Kakashi pretty much comes in and starts to scrap beef with Zabuza. With Zabuza saying, "Just move out the way, Naruto. He got this." Which Naruto is pretty much getting a little bit frustrated, but he's not showing it, and pretty much saying, "It's my battle." Now, this is where, of course, Kakashi gets caught by Zabuza while he went in the water to fight him, and pretty much stuck. Now it's just Sasuke and Naruto. Now, this is where Sasuke says, "We gotta let's work together to pretty much deal with him. I try to free Kakashi while you still focus on him." Or Naruto says, "Okay." Now this is where Sasuke jumps up and forms hand signs and shoots two fireballs at Zabuza water clone. Now the first one pretty much used the dragon style to block stuff. The first one, the second one hits about to hit Kakashi and Zabuza until Zabuza lets go and his water and his water clone, and yeah, pretty much let go, and Naruto pretty much uses his style to slashes the fireball away, or to cancel it out, you could say. Now, Kakashi pretty much gets out of the water and pretty much gets, gets out of the water, pretty much sits on the lays on a tree, pretty much gets his breath back and also his chakra back because, like I said, he used the eye. Now, as that's happening, this is where Naruto begins to say, "Alright, enough playing games." It begins to use the fourth form, the Moon Spirit Cleansing Edit. When Now this is where he used multiple curve slashes later over one another and another one. Pretty much, you could say it like that, and begins to use it on Zabuza, which Zabuza blocks but gets cut by the other ones and begins to bleed heavily, and is pretty much coughing up blood, saying, "What is this?" Now, before Naruto can finish it, this is where uh, Haku comes in and pretty much throws Simbo needles at Naruto and Sasuke, which they both block with ease, and they pretty much get out of there. Now, as Naruto's about to do, as Naruto's about to go after him, this is where Kakashi says, "No, we're supposed to protect him," which Naruto says, "All right," and puts his blade away. Now, this is where Hinata comes in and says she's sorry that she didn't have enough time to, defeat him, or well, defeat her, you could say. Pretty much, yeah, defeat her, which Naruto says it's all right. You managed to hold her off long enough. Now, as they're talking, we're going to switch to Hinata's point of view. Now, Hinata was pretty much sneaking up on Haku, and Haku was pretty much watching the fight. Now, this is where Hinata uses some wind style. We're gonna say a couple wind style, wind bullets jutsu, and pretty much fires at Haku, which Haku pretty much jumps away, and they begin to have their fight. Now, Haku begins to throw some needles at Hinata, and Hinata pretty much is dodging them, but gets hit by one of them, and it's pretty much by her arm. Now, she pretty much takes the needle out. They pretty much activate her Byakugan gun and trying to find where Haku at. Now, Haku is pretty much is hiding, which Hinata pretty much uses a wind style, wind slash jutsu, and slash at the tree, which Haku jumps away and pretty much, having their own fights at. Which this is where Haku looks again and sees Zabuza almost about to die and jumps in and pretty much takes him with her. But Hinata says, "Damn it." Now we switch back to the main story. Now, pretty much this is where Naruto, this is where Kakashi is pretty much, resting, pretty much can't do anything. So Naruto begins to teach Sasuke and well, no, not Sasuke, because Sasuke already knows how to walk due to his dad, and Naruto knows how to walk too. They begin to teach Hinata. Now Sasuke is pretty much training on his own, practicing and stuff, while pretty much let me see. Yeah, Naruto teaches Hinata how to water walk. Now, he's teaching her how to water walk and tree walking pretty much. And she's pretty much having a little bit of a hard time, which Naruto pretty much grabs her and pretty much holds her hand and pretty much says, "No, focus." And she's pretty much blushing, but she's focusing. And now Naruto pretty much says, "I tried to walk on the tree," and she begins to walk on the trees and says, "I did it." But she runs in and hugs Naruto, which she begins to blush and says sorry, which Naruto hugs her back and says, "It's okay. It's just excited." And she begins to blush, she harder but happy. Now, this is where Naruto begins to go to a tree and lays there and begins to think. And he pretty much sensed the presence of Haku being there, and he pretty much says, "So, are you the one that saved your master? Saved your master from getting murdered by me?" Which she pretty much said, "Yes, I am the one." And she begins to do the whole same speech and everything. And yes, Haku is a she, which Naruto begins to say, well, I know you're telling me this to protect the ones I love. I do have ones I do love to protect, but there's another thing is, I'm gonna give you this one fair warning. If you don't leave, well, I still can. I will kill him and you. Which she's pretty much saying, well, I guess I'm gonna have to die then. It begins to go. Now, as that's happening, this is where the bridge part happens. Now, this is where pretty much Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata is pretty much prepared. Which Zabuza is in his different tired getup, and Haku is too, and they're ready to fight. Which this is where Kakashi says, "I got Zabuza, while you and you and Sasuke fight Haku, and Hinata protects Tazuna," which she says, "Copy," and it begins to start go. Now, this is where Haku traps Naruto in the symbol needles. I mean the ice cave. I forgot how to call it. It's like the ice something, but I forgot. Well, pretty much traps Naruto and Sasuke in it. Well, yeah, pretty much traps both of them in it. Now, Sasuke and Naruto is pretty much dodging symbol needles with quick ease and really, not really worried, not really, getting hurt or flinch or getting attacked by it, not even damaged because they're pretty much stronger. And plus, it's nighttime, so it's a full moon. It doesn't have to be a full moon, but if it's like night, they're much stronger. So Sasuke is pretty much shooting his fireballs, destroying the mirrors, destroying like half of the mirrors and stuff, but they keep moving real fast. And this is where Naruto pretty much thinks thinks about starts to think real hard and think it says, should I really use it? Should I? Which uh this is where Sasuke says, "What are you talking about?" Which this is where this is where uh Naruto uses the fire breathing style, and he says, "This is gonna burn me," and he begins to breathe in, begins to do the first fire style, and pretty much destroys the mirrors, which Haku helps us. What? How? And Naruto hands begins to burn, starts to a little bit burn, but it heals up much quicker, and he starts to say, "All right, let's end this," and begins to use the first form of the moon breathing, and pretty much slash Haku down to the ground. Now, as that's happening, Haku pretty much hits the ground, and this is where Kakashi starts running in with the lightning blade to pierce Kakashi. This is where Haku comes in and sacrifices herself again and gets pierced, which Naruto is shocked that she sacrificed herself for her master. And pretty much, sees that happen. Now, Zabuza is laughing, saying, "I knew she would die for me one day, but this is useless." And pretty much begins to go for the slash down Haku and Kakashi, which this is where Naruto comes in and slash off Zabuza's head, pretty much killing him. And pretty much saying, "She died for you. This is all you said? You fool." And begins to, like I said, pretty much gets pissed off. Now, Kakashi is pretty much tired and pretty much passes out while Hinata is saying, pretty much going to Kakashi and saying, "Kakashi," and trying to get him up. Now, this is where Hamu's man, I forgot his name, but pretty much man comes in and they all have katanas and ready to attack. Now, as that happening, this is where Naruto thinks and says, "She shouldn't have died like this," and begins to cut his hand. And gives his blood to Haku. As he's giving his blood to Haku, this is where her wounds begins to heal up and her skin begins to turn different. Now, as that's happening, this is where, of course, Naruto heals up his hand and begins to tell Sasuke to watch over Haku while he goes deal with these guys. Which Sasuke says okay, and begins to go and fight. Yeah, fight the henchmen. And he begins to use the sixth form, and he begins to use like a windstorm. Windstorm, it just destroys all of them. Pretty much just destroying all of them and killing them. And everybody sees it and named it the Great Naruto Bridge. Now, as that's happening, Kakashi is pretty much saying, well, waking back up and saying, well, this is a mission well done. But he also is terrified because he's seen like blood everywhere, body parts everywhere and stuff. And Naruto's just standing there. Now, as everybody's going, this is where Naruto is carrying Haku, and she's pretty much waking up, and she has just like this picture, she has two eyes, like four eyes at two different sides. So yeah, because it affects differently, but pretty much yeah, she pretty much is waking up, and she has like a Japanese symbol in one of her eyes, and it says ice. It's pretty much saying ice demon, pretty much like that. Now she's pretty much is saying, why am I still alive? Which this where Naruto says, I brought you to life because you didn't have to die for him. And she's pretty much saying, I would give my life for him. Which Naruto is saying, well, he wouldn't do the same thing. And technically he was laughing when you died. So I brought you back because I think you deserve better. But she begins to cry and just lay on Naruto's back and just cry. Now, as they're all heading back, Kakashi pretty much tells everybody to get a rest. To go home and get a rest while he talked to Hiruzen, which Naruto says okay. Now, this is where Haku is at Naruto's house. Pretty much is laying on the bed, still recovering, while Sasuke asks Naruto, why did he give her demon blood to make her like one of us? Which Naruto is saying, because I see potential in her. And I think she'll be great to the family. And plus she has a kinky Kenkai, which Sasuke says, you talking about the thing she used on us? Yes, the thing she did use on us. That's a kinky Kenkai. Which Haku, she's passed out, so she's not hearing. But pretty much Naruto is saying, we need her to basically be with us so we can kill Itachi. Ain't that your goal? Which Sasuke says, yeah. And they pretty much both agree, including Zero. And pretty much starts getting ready for the next day. Now, this is part 2 of what if Naruto was the Demon King or learned the move breathing style from Demon Slayer. So, if you like, leave a like, comment, do all that stuff. I'm Keishan Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.